Alrighty, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is July the 10th. It's a Thursday today. For the overall market, SPY and Qs, at least, Qs wise, end up hitting our all-time highs level yesterday after getting above your Mondays and Tuesdays highs. Key levels now that we have marked out is your all-time highs. As you can see right now, currently, the semiconductors are still leading towards the upside. We kind of talked about the SMH. NVDA is the main one. You can see AMD also had some news in the pre-market. We'll talk about some names that we're keeping an eye out on coming into today. Before we do that, good morning. What's up, everyone? Good morning. Good morning, KO. What's up, B Roots, Teddy, Ricardo, Jeff, JT, Henry, Joseph, Nontali. What's up, Steven, Miriam. What's up, James, Cuba. What's up, Martin, Vate, Fan, Josh, Wayne, Annabelle, Ashley, Chris, Monty, Daniel, Brian, Robert, Miss Reggie. Good morning. What's up, Kenneth, Eileen, Darth? Yeah. What's up, everyone? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Let's first start on the major indices. Let's actually pull up the Forex factory here as well and talk about some of the red folder news. As for today, we actually do have a little bit of red folder news here. You can see we have some unemployment claims that is going to be at 8:30. We'll see if this affects the market. So we'll go over some charts, and then once 8:30 hits, we'll essentially develop our game plan from there. So we have unemployment in about half an hour. Before we do that, let's go over some charts coming into today. Okay. So first things first, let's go on to the ES. So the ES, as you can see, was lagging behind just a little bit comparatively speaking to the NQ. The NQ actually hit our all-time highs level yesterday, which was our last week's highs, 23,100. As for the ES, once we broke above your previous day highs, we ended up gravitating up and towards this level, which was kind of the pre-market level that we created for this week. So coming into today, key levels that we're gonna have marked out. We can now drag over your previous day highs in combination with your pivot high back from Monday. So this is going to be the key level coming into today, your 6310. So for the overall ES, if we do want to see some more upside, what we like to see now is the break above your previous day highs for this continued push back up and towards your all-time highs, your 6330. As you can see, the overall market is still fairly bullish here on the higher time frames. As we mentioned, right, higher time frame dips have still gotten bought up. We actually are currently still retesting this level. So basically yesterday, our game plan for the markets was as long as you maintain above your previous resistance, now turn into support level, as long as you maintain above your 6260, we can expect this potential push back up in towards your all-time highs. So in this case, nice retest you can see by these lower wicks. If I zoom in just a little bit, you can see that the buyers are stepping in right off our 6260, and now we are pushing this back towards the upside. If we do want to see all-time highs coming into today, what we like to see now is the hold above your previous day highs, 6312. As I mentioned, this is going to be the key level that we have to break and hold for this push back up in towards your all-time highs, 6332. For the SPY chart, we can actually refine a few levels here, but for the SPY, the levels that I have marked out is your Tuesday's highs, which we got above. You can see this nice push up in towards your 624. Now for the SPY, what I'd like to see, if I was to refine this level, you can just move it over here. It's going to be your previous day highs, 624. So this is the key level coming to today here for SPY. What I would like to see, similar to the ES, break above your 624.50 for this push up in towards your 626. If we just range in between, let's say we reject off your 624 right off the bat, we could be looking for the reclaim later into the session, since the higher time frame is still bullish, for the push back up and towards your all-time highs once again. So if we get above it right off the bat, we could be looking for the retest. If we reject it, then we could be looking for the reclaim later into the session. That's for the SPY and ES. As for the NQ coming into today, you can see nicely once we're able to reclaim back above your previous day's high. So we got above your Tuesday's highs along with your Monday's highs, end up having this nice push up in towards your all-time highs. Now for the overall market, you can see we're still building up these higher lows here on the 1 hour time frame. What I like to see for some more continuation now is going to be above your all-time highs for this continued pushback towards the upside. If I go into the 15-minute time frame, key levels coming to today is going to be this 23,100 and really the area we broke out from, which is your 22,960. So for the NQ, what I personally would like to see is really just these higher low structures being built, continuation up in towards your all-time highs. And if we can get above your all-time highs hold, we can see now this continue push back towards the upside. For the QQQ, key levels that we have marked out, what I have here is your all-time highs, 557.25. We also have the area that it broke out from, which is your 554. So yesterday, our game plan is if we can break above your previous day highs, we can see our gap fill, 556, and potentially your all-time highs. You can see we end up having this nice push higher, end up having a little bit of rejection all the way back down in towards your 554. But on the daily time frame, we were able to hold this key level. Now for the Qs coming into today, what I'd like to see is the hold above your 556. So two scenarios here, where I break above your previous day highs for this continuation towards the upside. Another scenario, if it dips right off the bat, we could be looking for the push later, higher low off your 556 for this push back up in towards your all-time highs once again. So for the overall indices, we're still bullish on the higher time frame. So game plan really still has been intact for looking for major dips for continued pushback towards the upside. As for the SMH, let's quickly go over this one and then we'll go over some of the semiconductors. SMH is one of the more bullish tickers just because we are at all-time highs. If we have a little bit more context here and just zoom out, you can see on this daily chart, what we have here is the break above your all-time highs. So the break above your all-time highs, you can see this one has been leading towards the upside this week. That's why NVDA and a few other names have been moving up nicely. But for SMH, key levels that I have marked out is your 285. This is your last week's highs. Also a very key pivot level from this week here as well. So as long as you maintain above your 285, you can expect continuation towards the upside. In this case, the levels that we're going to have marked out is going to be your previous day highs, 287.50. So that is the level today. If you want to see continuation, you like to see the break above your 287.50 for this continue push up and towards. Now it's going to be this 289 here and above. So that's going to be key for the SMH. With that being said, let's go over onto some tech names now. Number one, let's talk about the semiconductors, NVIDIA. This one leading towards the upside. Key level that we talked about yesterday was our previous all-time high. So yesterday, let me remove a few of these. Key levels that we had for NVIDIA was our all-time highs, which was our 160.98. So this is the level yesterday we mentioned. If you can get above, we can see some continuation towards the upside. You can see right off the bat, really strong pop towards the highs just because we are at all-time highs. If we zoom out here, if we look at this daily time frame, you can see really solid retest right off our previous all-time highs, 152. Now you can see this nice continue push back towards the upside. Now if we go back onto the lower time frames for NVIDIA coming into today, the levels that I'm going to have marked out is really just based off of intraday price action. So levels, we have your previous day highs and really kind of the area that we broke out from now, which is going to be this 163.60s. So for NVIDIA, you have two scenarios coming into today, either the push all the way back down in towards your 163.60s for a pushback towards the upside. That's also where your previous day closes. Or now we're just going to be waiting for the break and hold back above your previous day highs, 164.40s. So we can mark this out as well. So these are going to be both the levels that we're going to keep an eye out on NVIDIA. As for potential levels that we can be looking for, since we are at all-time highs on this team, what we can do is draw out our Fibonacci. So in this case, we can draw out our Fibonacci's from this swing low to this swing high. Next levels that I do have, I'm going to mark out your 165.64. And we can also mark out your 166.40. Whenever we are at all-time highs and there's no levels left, if we look left, we are at all-time highs. We can draw out psychological levels, 165, and we can also draw our fib levels here as well, 165.63, along with our 166.40s. So those are the levels we can keep an eye out coming into today, along with our previous day highs and this 163.40s. So that's what we have here for NVIDIA. Let's talk about AMD here as well, since this one does have news in the pre-market. Higher time frame is setting up nicely here as well. So for this ticker, the key level that we have marked out yesterday was our 140. So this is the level we like to see price get above. Just unable to get above 140, but now you can see in the pre-market, we have some news here as well. What I'd like to see for AMD is now really the hold above your 140 for a pushback up in towards your previous days, this gap fill that we have here on the higher time frame. So for AMD, you can see this is the gap all the way up in towards your 141.90s. This is your higher time frame imbalance in the market. What I like to see is one of two things, right? Potential retest of now your 140 for a push up in towards your gap fill. It does seem like we're about to have two gaps in the market now as well. So we can be looking for the reaction that we have off of your 141.90 here. So this is a key level. Let me actually just refine my levels. So the next level is going to be this 142 and also this gap fill here on the higher time frames. Okay, let's go on to Tesla. So Tesla, not really too much to talk about. Coming into this week, you can see really just a lot more kind of consolidation around our key levels being our 296 and this 299. So you can see just multiple touches around this general area. Not too much to talk about in this case. Overall market is pushing towards your all-time highs, whereas Tesla really lagging the overall market. So for this one, keep an eye out on your 299. If you can get above your 299, we can see a push up in towards your 303. If we end up rejecting off your 299, we're just going to come right back down in towards your 296. As for Microsoft, this one had news yesterday. Nice hold of your previous key pivot point, which was our 500 key psychological level. Now, as long as Microsoft maintains above your 500, you like to see this one continue back towards the upside. As for Apple, similar to Tesla, just a lot of consolidation on this name, not too much to talk about. Key levels that you have is your 208 along with your 2010, at least for this week. This one on the higher time frames is just coming back to retest key levels. So I actually do like this one on the higher time frames. If we remove a few levels here. So for Apple, really kind of breaking out a few weeks ago. And now we're retesting this general area where we broke out from. So now for Apple, you can see kind of this lower wick is being put in. I like to see now the pushback up in towards your 214. If we can start showing buyers stepping in on the daily time frame, break above 214, we can have a solid pushback up in towards your 220 and above. So for Apple, you can see somewhat the buyers stepping in at this key level here, which is really this news candle high. So you can see the buyers are essentially defending this news candle high 207. Now with this level, if I wanted to refine it, we can just refine this. And other levels I'm going to have marked out. Let me actually just redraw my levels once again. Is going to be this 210.50. So this 210.50, we have your 207.50. What I'd like to see here on Tesla, you can see multiple touches. Tried closing above yesterday, but what I like to see now is it maintain above your 210.50 for this potential pushback towards the upside. You have this maybe inverse head and shoulders forming if we can confirm this right shoulder here back towards the upside. So 210.50 is going to be key for Apple coming into today, preferably above that level, along with your previous day highs 211.50. As for some other names, we're going to take a look at Meta. Super nice retest yesterday here on Meta. Once we're able to break back above your 728, we end up having this nice retest on the lower time frames for a pushback towards the upside. A lot of consolidation. So this one essentially consolidating for the better part of last week. So now you can see you like to see this pushback towards the upside. Now, key levels coming to Meta today is going to be this previous day high pivot level, which is your 737. So I personally would like to see it maintain your 732 for a push up and towards your 737, or now it's going to be the break above your previous day highs for this continued pushback towards upside. As for Google, a little bit of news yesterday along with Amazon. So for Google, key levels that we have marked out, you can see fairly volatile, just pretty big wicks yesterday, and honestly the day previous that we did have. So for Google, key levels that you're going to have marked out is your 176. We have a bunch of key levels marked out, 178 and all the way back down in towards your 173. There's not really a clear edge on the higher time frame, so I'm not going to be too interested in Google. As for Amazon, key levels that we do have marked out, similar thing. We actually had news the past few days regarding the Prime sales, higher time frames. I still like very much, but so far you can see just a little bit more consolidation, similar to what it did a few weeks prior. So this is a little bit of a slower move on the daily time frame. Now, what I like to see is still the hold of your 218. If you can hold your 218, I'd like to see continuation higher, but really now I'd like to see the break above this 225 retest for this continued push towards the upside. So for Amazon, 225 along with this 218. I already went over AMD, and then Netflix, this one consolidating a little bit more. Key levels that we have is your 1280 here on the higher time frames. Okay. So yeah, that's for some of the major indices that we have marked out coming into today. As I mentioned, we do have some red folder news that is going to be at 8:30. So I'll go over some charts. If you guys do have any tickers or any charts you'd like me to go over, I'll go over them for the next 13 minutes. And then once unemployment does hit, we'll develop our game plan from there. All right. Good morning. What's up, everyone? Let's see. Yeah, if you guys do have any tickers, you guys can drop them in the chat. If you guys haven't joined the watch list, that one is in the description. I post my game plan every morning. If you guys haven't been following me on X, I also post my game plan on there as well. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop me a like and sub. Let's see. Okay, let me scroll up here. You can go over tickers while answering some questions. For Palantir, this one's shaping up nicely. Talked about this one yesterday above your 139. So this is kind of that same pattern that we've been forming for a couple of times now. As you can see, Palantir, back when we had earnings earlier from May. Another scenario when we had news. Once again, nice reclaims and pushback towards the upside. And Palantir, now you can see similar pattern forming. We had some news dropping price towards the downside. Now we're reclaiming back above key levels. Key level for me, 139. 139 hold, we can see a pushback up and towards. Now it's going to be the area that we broke down from 145, sorry. So that's really the key level that we broke down from. As for Palantir coming into this morning, key levels that we're going to have marked out, previous day highs, 143. So 143 previous day highs, key level. You can see yesterday, a couple reactions right off the bat, but once we're finally able to close above on the higher time frames, nice hold above your 139 for this pushback towards the upside. Now for Palantir, it's going to be the hold of your 143 for this continued push all the way back up in towards, it's going to be this 144.90. And then we also do have levels here and above. As for other semiconductors, Oracle, key levels that we have marked out in this case is your previous all-time highs, which is your 237. So your 237 hit on Tuesday. See a little bit of consolidation yesterday, but now we are gapping up. Key levels for Oracle that we'd like to see hold now is going to be this 237. 237, I'd like to see hold for this continued pushback towards the upside. Similar thing, this one is at all-time high, so you are going to have to draw out Fibonacci levels. But in this case, what we can mark out is your all-time highs, 241.35 and above. As for the other semiconductors, we have AVGO. We'll go over this one. AVGO is at all-time highs. Key levels that we have marked out, you can see this nice retest. Now we finally broke above all-time highs here in the pre-market. What I would like to see now is the hold above. Now it's going to be this 277. So 277 hold on AVGO for this continued push back towards the upside. So 277, a very key pivot point. Let me go over a few other ones. Hood, this one reclaiming above key level. So Hood hit our 100 key psych. I mentioned most likely gonna have a little bit of consolidation, but now you can see breaking above here in the pre-market. So this looks good now for this pushback towards the upside. So for Hood, you actually had a pretty big day here on Monday. Pretty big wick, but you had an inside bar day yesterday. Now what I like to see is it maintain above your 95 for this push back up and towards. It's going to be this 98.50 now on Hood. CRWV. Yeah, just a little bit more consolidation on this one. Not too much to talk about. Key level is your 152 and also your 166 here as well for CRWV. As I mentioned, higher time frames, if you can break back above, it would invalidate this higher time frame head and shoulders, and that would be very bullish for this continued pushback towards the upside. IWM. Check out the email. Yes, I'll check that one out. What type of indicator you use in market high and low, support and resistance? There is, the indicator that we do have is an intraday indicator, also marks out higher time frame key pivot levels. That's just a level that we have. You can also do it manually, just doing it through previous day highs and lows. But we do have one. Potentially, I might show you guys in the future. Let's see for the IWM key level that we have in this case is your, let me just mark these ones out. So coming into this week, what we have marked out now is your last week's high, which is your 223. So if I was to redraw these levels, we have your 223 marked out. You can also mark out this high that we created from yesterday along with your last week's highs. Now we are above your 223. What I like to see, maintain your 223 for this continued pushback towards the upside. So for BBAI, I talked about this one. Looks a little bit overextended, exhaustion move after we had on Tuesday. You can see yesterday a little bit of a drop here as well, selling off right off the bat. This one higher time frame, still very much intact, but now it's showing a little bit more weakness. Key levels that we have is now the 720. So if it maintains underneath 720, you have your next leg towards the downside, towards your 640. If we consolidate, potentially reclaim back above your 720, we can see this push back up and towards your 780 here on BBAI. All right, we have about 5 minutes until some red folder news event. As for gold, not too much to talk about in this case. Key level that we did have marked out is our 337. Our 3347. This is the level you can see. Nice little reaction that we had above. Yesterday, we talked about this level here as well. If we can reclaim back above your 3295, we can see this potential push back towards the upside. So you can see right off the bat, kind of have this immediate retest right around 9 o'clock, and then you end up pushing back towards the highs. In this case, key levels now a little bit farther away, but it's really this 3295 along with this 3347. Higher time frames, just building up a little bit more liquidity to both sides. So as you can see here, building up liquidity. We also are building up liquidity towards the upside here as well, just kind of defending the low of the range. So what I like to see, a little bit more consolidation, and then finally we get that push back up and towards your highs. Okay, let me scroll down here. Great video. Yes, appreciate that one. Do you trade options instead of stocks? That's correct. Weeklies, and I usually choose one at the money. MP, let's see, what other criteria that determine your top watches? News plus higher time frames. So in this case, really my top watches have been just primarily semiconductors because SMH leading Indices plus NVDA is really the leading ticker that's pushing the market higher. You can see Tesla, kind of Apple lagging, but the main tickers that are pushing higher are the ones that are leading the market, which in this case has been the semis, primarily NVIDIA. Let's see. I did check Discord yesterday concerning how to use the indicator, but unfortunately YouTube has deleted the video. Are there any ways I can receive this instructions? It's on the WAP. So there's a WAP. Let me see if I can pull this up. Actually, it should be on the WAP. Let me see if I can find it, but there's a WAP video. So once you get access to the indicator, if you go on the learn, there's a video that comes with the indicator that'll explain how to use it. If you have any questions, it's basically just using the WAP. So go on the WAP homepage and click learn. And then if you still need help, I'm sure someone can help you, or you can put in the Discord and someone will help you out. Okay. We'll go over a few more tickers. We do have about 3 minutes until red folder news, and then we'll talk about our game plan from there. All right, circle this one. Once we had that nice retest on Monday, now we're kind of consolidating right around our 208. 208 is going to be a key level that you're going to have to reclaim if you want to see that next leg towards the upside. Currently, a couple of reactions off your 208. Just not able to close, at least on the higher time frames. Lower time frame closed above, higher time frames did not. 208 hold on the higher time frames will push us back towards the upside. Coin higher time frames, I like this a lot here as well. So I'm going to pay attention to coin coming to today along with BTC. So we have Bitcoin here. We actually hit your all-time highs. It doesn't seem like any of the sympathies are moving, but Bitcoin all-time highs, nice hold finally of that 108 for this push up in towards our all-time highs 212. So you can see we hit it yesterday fairly nicely. Now what we like to see is really this higher low be built and continue back towards the all-time highs and above. So for Bitcoin, what I like to see now is really just the hold of your 110,600. Really, I don't have any levels of support here. Maybe we can draw this wick, your 110, basically 600 once again. That's going to be the key pivot level. As for coin, so far we're breaking above your 370, your Tuesday's highs, multiple touches from yesterday. So this is a higher time frame break and retest now if you can hold this 370. So 370 is really key here on the higher time frames. As long as you can maintain above your 370, I'd like to see this continue push back towards the upside with Bitcoin pushing higher for a push up and towards this 382. As for MSTR, similar kind of thesis, pushing higher here. What we like to see now is really the break and hold above your previous day highs along with your last week's highs. So key level for me, what I like to see here on MSTR above your 416 for this continued push higher. All right, we have about 1 minute here until red folder news. SoFi, higher time frame still very much intact. SoFi has been awesome. Not sure why the symbol is not loading, but yeah, SoFi has been absolutely awesome. Base, really the past month continuation towards the upside. Key levels that we have now on SoFi is your 1980 along with your 2040. This is the level it's going to have to reclaim if you want to see any sort of continued push towards the upside. MP, is this the MP materials? Yeah. MP materials, this one actually higher time frame, nice base, right? Perfect retest off of your 2960s. It seems like it does have news here as well, partnered with the U.S. Department of Defense, investing $750 million to boost rare earth magnet production. Shares jump 46% to $44 in the pre-market. So MP materials, nice retest, continuation towards the upside, higher time frames. Now, if you look at the daily chart, since we're above your 40 key cycle level, is going to be all the way back left. In this case, what we can have marked out on this name is going to be your 4240, and really all the way back up and towards your 50. So those are the levels that you have for MP. What you like to see now, just maintain above your 4280s. Okay, so we just had unemployment here as well. Let me see if I can pull this up. So for unemployment, so as you can see right here for the unemployment claims, you can see they just came in. Forecasted 236, actual was 227. So it came in a little bit lower than expected. But as you can see, we came in about 10. So for the overall market, now you can see higher time frame, still very much bullish. You can see there's a little bit of reaction around 830. Not really. It just basically came in as expected. So it came in line with expectation. So overall market coming into today, same game plan still applies for the overall indices. What I'd like to see is above your previous day highs hold for a continuation. Similar with the Qs, what I like to see now is above your previous day highs, or it's going to be the hold of your 556 for this continued push back towards the upside here on the overall indices. As for my top watches coming to today, it's still going to be the semiconductors, just because higher time frames, the semis have been leading this leading this rally towards the upside. So we're still going to focus here on NVIDIA along with AMD. These are the names we're going to keep an eye out on. As for a few other names that I do like, AVGO base above your 277. Let's take a look at a couple other semiconductors here as well. MU lagging a little bit behind now after having earnings at your all-time highs. Sorry, this one wasn't at your all-time highs, so that makes sense. So MU, key level that we have is your 124. As for TSM, key levels that we have here as well is just going to be your all-time highs 237, and then we also have your previous all-time highs 226. So that's the higher time frame key level. As long as you maintain above your 226 here on TSM, we like to see this continue push back towards upside. Other levels we can have marked out now is going to be your Monday's high. So we can mark out your Monday's high, and also a combination with multiple touches from yesterday as well, which is your 232.50. My favorite, of course, is going to be NVIDIA and AMD. Other names that I do like here as well is going to be, let me go over here, Meta, if we can reclaim back above that 733. And then we also have other names as well, which is, yeah, we have Amazon. If you can get above your 225, this one's consolidating, so I don't like this one as much. And then we have Apple consolidating. So a lot of these names are consolidating. So it's primarily just the semiconductors and the indices themselves that we're going to take a look at. Kind of the same thing we've been looking for the past couple of weeks, is just primarily the semis along with the indices. Okay, let me go over a few more tickers. How can you tell when the momentum is decreasing in the market? You can look at it from a few things. You can look at the VIX and just if there's continuation. So the VIX is a good indication of how volatile it is, but to see if there's continuation, which usually is in combination with momentum. But as you can see, a lot of these names are now just gravitating after hitting all-time highs, our main objective. We're slowly pushing higher now since we already hit your main objective, right? Everyone knows that we're at all-time highs. So at least for the speed and momentum wise, it is definitely slowing down compared to its previous week because we had main objectives being at all-time highs. Now, since we're above your all-time highs, we're just going to slowly gravitate higher. Are you buying BTC? Not up here. Let's see. Palantir, already went over that one. INTC. As for INTC, key level is your 23 psych level here on the higher time frames. I removed a bunch of levels, but really not too much to talk about in this case. Nice pop here on Tuesday. Now what you like to see is it really just maintain above your pivot level that we created from its previous week, 2320. You can see multiple touches. Now we like to use this level as a retest for this continued pushback towards the upside. All right, let me scroll down here. No need to cut rates with these numbers. Yes, coin went over that. Did you take any trade? Yeah, at the end of trade, I tried NVIDIA yesterday, also with AMD. The AMD one I liked, just didn't really have continuation above your 140. Now we also have this pop here in the pre-market. So this one, higher time frame, still very much intact with a lot of these semiconductors. This one looks good for this pushback towards the upside here as well. So that's what we have for AMD. Now it's going to be a hold of either your previous day highs, or now it's going to be the hold above your 142. Let me actually just get rid of this. Key levels that we have for AMD is going to be your 146. So you have your 146, you also have your 147, and then you can also mark out another level if you like, which is just going to be this 144. So coming into today here for AMD, you can see now we're breaking back above. We're going to reclaim this gap level here as well. So with this gap up, what we like to see now is just a hold of your 142 for this continued push back up and towards your 144 here and above. So that's what we have for AMD. So yeah, that's most likely going to be it for me today. A little bit of a shorter pre-market session. Not too much to talk about. It's just really focusing on the overall indices and the reaction that we have off of your previous day highs. And then the semiconductors, we're going to keep an eye out on NVDA reaction that we have off your 164 along with this 163.60. And then for AMD, this is the one that's showing a lot of strength here in the pre-market. It also had news as well. So we'll keep an eye out on your first pullback here down in towards your 142. So yeah, that's going to be it for me today. I'm going to get ready for market open here now. What's your pre-market prep after the video finishes? Is there a difference with this? No, with the live prep, no. The pre-market prep is basically what I do. And then the actual what I do after this is I record the video, put up my top watches, record the video for you guys in that watch list below. So if you guys haven't joined that one, you guys can join that. And then I post now my daily game plan is going to be posting on Twitter as well. So that is going to be it for me today. I am going to get ready for market open. If you guys did enjoy that, I appreciate if you guys drop me a like and sub, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. All right, take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the day.